Hello and welcome. Let's have an honest chat. When you walk through the produce aisle at the grocery store, does the fruit section feel a little off limits? Do you find yourself looking at a beautiful, ripe peach or a bowl of sweet, dark cherries and thinking to yourself, I probably shouldn't? If you've ever felt that way, you are far, far from alone. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, a staggering 29.2% of Americans aged 65 and older are living with diabetes. That's nearly 1 in 3 of us. And for so many, that diagnosis comes with a long, often confusing list of do's and don'ts, especially when it comes to fruit. But what if I told you that the idea that all fruit is bad for diabetics is one of the biggest, most disempowering myths out there? What if the key to better blood sugar control wasn't about avoiding fruit, but about choosing the right fruits in the right way? In the next 25 minutes, we're going to dismantle that myth piece by piece. We are going on a deep dive into the top 7 powerhouse fruits that can actually help you manage your blood sugar naturally. We'll give you the science, the strategies, and the confidence to walk back into that produce aisle and fill your cart with delicious, healthy, and safe options. This is about taking back control and bringing the joy of fruit back into your life. Hello, and welcome. The core problem we're tackling today is one of fear and confusion. It's the fear that a simple piece of fruit could send your blood sugar on a roller coaster, and the confusion that comes from trying to navigate a sea of conflicting advice. Our goal today is to replace that fear with knowledge and confidence, giving you a practical toolkit for enjoying nature's candy without the worry. Now, this isn't just my opinion. Everything we're about to discuss is grounded in solid research and guidelines from institutions you know and trust, like the American Diabetes Association, the Mayo Clinic, and Johns Hopkins Medicine. We've done the homework, so you can feel secure in the information. Before we start our countdown, we need to understand the 3 simple rules of the road that make all of this possible. First, we're going to talk about something called the Glycemic Index, or GI. Think of it like a speed rating for food. Foods with a high GI, like white bread or sugary cereals, are like a sports car. They release sugar into your blood very, very fast, causing a spike. Foods with a low GI, like the fruits we'll be discussing today, are more like a steady, reliable family sedan. They release sugar slowly and gently, which gives your body time to manage it properly. That slow, gentle release is exactly what we want. The second rule of the road involves our secret weapon, fiber. Fiber is the part of a plant that your body can't digest, and it's a diabetic's best friend. When you eat a whole fruit, the fiber acts like a traffic cop in your digestive system. It slows down the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream, preventing traffic jams and keeping things moving at a safe, steady pace. This is precisely why a whole apple is a friend, while a glass of apple juice, which has all that wonderful fiber stripped away, can be a foe. And our third and final rule is the golden rule. Portion control is power. As the Mayo Clinic wisely reminds us, even with the very best foods, moderation is key. A standard serving of fruit for someone managing diabetes should contain about 15 grams of carbohydrates. We'll talk about what that looks like for each fruit on our list, and you might be surprised to find that the serving sizes are often more generous than you'd think. So here's our plan. We're going to count down the top 7 fruits for blood sugar management, from a solid number 7 all the way to a very surprising number 1. For each fruit, we'll cover why it's so good for you, a simple action step to add it to your diet, and any important red flags to be aware of. And you'll definitely want to stick around for number 2, because it comes with a critical warning about some very common medications that your doctor might not have had time to mention in detail. And of course, a quick but very important reminder: I am not a doctor, and this video is for informational and educational purposes only. It is never a substitute for the advice of your personal physician or healthcare team. Always consult with them before making any changes to your diet or health regimen. All right, let's get started. Kicking off our countdown at number 7 is a fruit that's often overlooked but is a true workhorse for blood sugar control: the humble pear. Pears are fantastic for two main reasons. First, they have a low glycemic index, typically scoring around 38. This means they already have a head start in releasing their natural sugars slowly. But the real magic of the pear is in its incredible fiber content. A single medium-sized pear can pack around 6 grams of fiber. That's over 20% of what most of us need in an entire day. Think of that fiber like a sponge in your digestive system. It soaks up water, slows everything down, and ensures that the sugar from the pear enters your bloodstream at a nice, gentle, manageable pace, which is exactly what we need to prevent those sharp, tiring spikes. On top of that, research shows that the specific types of antioxidants found in pears, especially the anthocyanins that give red pears their beautiful color, have powerful anti-inflammatory and anti-diabetic effects. I think of my neighbor Carol. She was diagnosed with prediabetes a few years ago and was understandably terrified of eating fruit. She loved pears, but had cut them out of her diet completely. We got to talking about the science behind fiber, and she decided to try a little experiment. She started having half a pear with a few almonds as her afternoon snack. A week later, she told me she was thrilled. Not only did her blood sugar stay perfectly stable, but she also felt more full and satisfied, which helped her avoid the cookies she used to crave later in the day. It was such a small, simple change, but it made a huge difference for her. So your action step for this one is simple. The next time you're at the store, pick up a few firm pears. You don't have to eat the whole thing at once. Try slicing half a medium pear and having it with your morning oatmeal or as a standalone snack paired with a small handful of walnuts or a slice of cheese. The protein and healthy fat from the nuts or cheese will slow down digestion even more, creating a perfectly balanced, blood sugar-friendly treat. Now, for the red flags. It is very important to eat the skin. That's where a huge amount of the beneficial fiber and those protective antioxidants are hiding. Just be sure to give it a good wash first. Also, if you're not currently eating a lot of fiber, it's a good idea to introduce pears or any high-fiber food slowly to give your system time to adjust. If you happen to experience any significant bloating or discomfort, it's always a good idea to chat with your doctor. So we've covered a fantastic high-fiber fruit. But what about those classic summer fruits we all love and miss? That brings us right to number 6. A juicy favorite you might have thought was off the menu for good. Coming in at number 6 is the quintessential taste of summer, the delicious, fragrant, and juicy peach. Many people automatically assume that peaches are a no-go because of their wonderful sweetness, but the science tells a completely different story. Peaches actually have a very low glycemic index, often cited as low as 28, with a glycemic load of around 3 or 4. To put that in perspective, that is incredibly low and means they have a very gentle effect on blood sugar. Like pears, they are a good source of dietary fiber, with a medium peach providing over 2 grams, which helps buffer that sugar release. This fiber, combined with the high water content of a peach, means that the natural sweetness is delivered to your system in a very controlled and manageable way. What's even more exciting is that some studies have pointed to special bioactive compounds within peaches that may help fight obesity-related diabetes and even improve how your body responds to insulin. My Uncle Frank, a proud man from Georgia, was absolutely devastated when he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. He thought he'd never be able to sit on his porch and enjoy a fresh, ripe peach ever again. But his doctor took the time to explain the glycemic index to him and showed him that a whole, fresh peach was a perfectly fine choice. So, he started having one for dessert instead of his usual bowl of ice cream. It completely satisfied his sweet tooth, and to his surprise, his evening blood sugar readings actually improved. It was a perfect lesson in making a smart swap, not feeling deprived. Here's your action step. Go ahead and enjoy a fresh, whole peach. A medium-sized peach contains about 14 grams of carbohydrates, which fits perfectly into that one-serving rule we talked about. You can eat it on its own, slice it into a fresh green salad for a touch of sweetness, or even blend it into a smoothie with some plain Greek yogurt for an extra boost of protein. The most important red flag here is to focus on fresh and whole. Canned peaches, especially those packed in heavy syrup, are a completely different animal. That syrup is loaded with added sugars that will absolutely send your blood sugar on a wild ride. If you can't get fresh, look for frozen peaches with no sugar added. And as with any new food you introduce, if you're unsure how it affects you personally, it's a great practice to test your blood sugar before and about 2 hours after eating one. This gives you valuable information about your own body's response. From a delicious summer delight, let's move on to a year-round staple that's probably sitting in most of our fruit bowls right now. This next one, at number 5, has a special hidden compound that researchers are getting very excited about. At number 5, we have perhaps the most common and beloved fruit in America, the apple. And it turns out, that old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, might have some very real truth to it, especially for those of us managing diabetes. Apples really do check all the boxes. They have a low glycemic index, usually scoring between 36 and 39. They are packed with fiber, with a medium apple containing an impressive 4.5 grams. A good portion of this is a special type of soluble fiber called pectin, which is fantastic for slowing down sugar absorption and has the added benefit of helping to lower our bad LDL cholesterol. But here's the insider secret about apples. Their skin is rich in a powerful antioxidant called quercetin. A growing body of research suggests that quercetin can help improve your body's insulin sensitivity and has potent anti-inflammatory effects. This is incredibly important because we know that chronic inflammation is closely linked to diabetes and its complications. In fact, several large-scale studies have found a direct link between regular apple consumption and a significantly lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes in the first place. I remember a woman named Susan in a nutrition class I was teaching. She was a middle school teacher and always kept an apple on her desk, but she started avoiding them after her diabetes diagnosis, thinking they were too high in sugar. When I explained the power of the fiber and that special compound, quercetin, hiding right in the skin, a light bulb went on for her. She started pairing her daily apple with a small handful of almonds for her 3 p.m. snack. It gave her the steady, reliable energy she needed to get through the end of the school day without the sugar crash she had been so afraid of. So, your action step is to embrace the apple, but to do it strategically. The best way to enjoy an apple is to pair it with a source of protein and healthy fat. The classic combination is simple and delicious. Apple slices with a tablespoon of peanut butter or almond butter. This dynamic duo slows digestion down even further and creates a perfectly balanced, blood sugar-friendly, and very satisfying snack. Now for the red flags. Once again, the benefits are in the whole fruit, not the juice. Apple juice is stripped of all its fiber and will send your blood sugar soaring. And please, leave the skin on. That's where about half the fiber and most of that amazing quercetin is located. And while it's true that a tart Granny Smith apple might have slightly less sugar than a sweet Fuji apple, the difference isn't significant enough to worry about. Just focus on your portion size. Half of a large apple or one whole small apple is a great place to start. Okay, we've covered the big 3 everyday fruits. Now let's take a quick breath before we dive into our top 4, where we get into some real game changers. Okay, let's pause the countdown for just a moment. We're about halfway through, and we've already uncovered some fantastic, empowering options. We've talked about the high fiber power of pears, the surprisingly gentle sweetness of peaches, and the everyday benefits of apples, especially that powerhouse compound, quercetin, hiding in the skin. The common thread here is that these are all whole fruits packed with that all-important fiber that help us avoid the rapid sugar spikes we're trying to manage. This isn't about deprivation. All right, are you ready for the top 4? This is where we get into the fruits that are celebrated for their incredible antioxidant and anti-inflammatory powers. Let's jump right back in with number 4. Coming in strong at number 4 is a fruit that feels like a truly decadent treat, the rich, dark red cherry. Cherries are a superstar for people with diabetes for a very specific and powerful reason: a group of compounds called anthocyanins. These are the potent antioxidants that give cherries their deep, beautiful red color. A wealth of studies, some going back many years, have shown that these anthocyanins have incredible anti-inflammatory properties. But even more exciting for our purposes, they may actually help your body produce more insulin and use the insulin it has more effectively. Some early laboratory studies even showed that when pancreatic cells were exposed to these compounds, their insulin production increased by a remarkable 50%. I have a friend whose father, a retired mechanic named George, suffers from both type 2 diabetes and painful arthritis. He was dealing with the double whammy of stiff, aching joints and the constant worry about his blood sugar. His doctor suggested he try adding a small bowl of tart cherries to his daily diet. After a few weeks, he called my friend, absolutely amazed. He said that not only were his blood sugar numbers more stable and predictable, but his knees felt noticeably less achy in the mornings. For him, it was a true double win. So your action step here is to enjoy a sensible portion of fresh, or, if they're out of season, frozen cherries. A good serving size is about 1 cup of fresh cherries, which comes out to about 12 to 15 cherries, depending on their size. They make a wonderful dessert all on their own, or you can stir them into plain yogurt or your morning oatmeal for a burst of flavor. Now for the red flags. You have to be very careful with the form of cherries you buy. Canned cherries in syrup, and especially those bright red maraschino cherries, are swimming in added sugar and should be avoided entirely. Dried cherries can be a good option, but because the sugar becomes so concentrated when the water is removed, the portion size is much, much smaller. Think just 2 tablespoons. Always read the label and look for the words "no added sugar." Finally, if you have a sensitive stomach, be aware that cherries contain natural sugar alcohols like sorbitol, which can cause some digestive upset in some people if you eat too many. From the singular power of cherries, let's broaden our scope to a whole family of fruits that are famous for their antioxidant content. Coming in at number 3 is a true diabetes superfood group. At number 3, we're not talking about just one fruit, but a whole family of nutritional powerhouses: berries. This includes beautiful strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries. The American Diabetes Association officially calls berries a diabetes superfood, and for very good reason. They are absolutely loaded with fiber and have a low glycemic index. For example, a cup of fresh blueberries has a GI of around 53, which is nice and low. But their real claim to fame is their off-the-charts antioxidant levels. Remember those powerful anthocyanins we just talked about in cherries? Well, berries are packed with them too. Here's a simple way to think about it. Think of antioxidants as your body's personal rust-proofers. The condition of diabetes can cause something called oxidative stress throughout the body, which is a lot like rust forming on your delicate cells. The antioxidants in berries help to fight that damage, protecting your blood vessels, your organs, and reducing the chronic inflammation that can make diabetes worse. I have a vivid memory of my own grandmother, who managed her diabetes with grace well into her 90s. Every single morning, without fail, she had a small bowl of oatmeal topped with a handful of whatever berries were in season from her little garden. She didn't know the complex science of oxidative stress or anthocyanins, of course, but she knew that her simple breakfast made her feel good and helped keep her numbers in check. For her, it was her simple, delicious, daily medicine. This is an easy one to put into practice. Your action step is to find a way to add about a cup of mixed berries to your daily routine. A cup of raspberries, for instance, has about 15 grams of carbs and is loaded with beneficial fiber. You can sprinkle them on your morning cereal or yogurt, blend them into a healthy smoothie, or just enjoy a bowl as a refreshing and satisfying snack. And don't forget that frozen berries are just as nutritious as fresh ones, so you can enjoy their benefits all year long. There are very few red flags when it comes to berries. From the small but mighty berry, we now move to a larger, zesty fruit that's a breakfast staple for many. But our number 2 pick comes with one of the most important warnings in this entire video. Sliding into the number 2 spot is the bright and zesty citrus family, and we're going to focus specifically on oranges and grapefruit. Citrus fruits are, of course, famous for their high vitamin C content. Vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant that helps reduce the kind of inflammation that is so often associated with diabetes. They are also full of fiber and have a low glycemic index. A medium orange, for example, has a GI of about 43, while half a grapefruit has an incredibly low GI of just 25. They also contain other beneficial plant compounds, or flavonoids, called hesperidin and naringin, which research suggests have distinct anti-diabetic effects. And just like with apples, eating a whole orange provides that satisfying fiber that slows sugar absorption, making it a far, far better choice than a glass of orange juice. Let's talk about my dad, Bob, again for a moment. He takes a common medication for high cholesterol, a statin drug. For years, he started his day with half a grapefruit, thinking he was doing something wonderful for his heart health. It wasn't until a new, very thorough pharmacist pointed out the potential interaction that he learned what was happening. He was accidentally making his medication too potent in his system, throwing off his levels. He immediately switched to having an orange in the morning instead, and his doctor was able to manage his cholesterol levels much more predictably and safely. So, your action step is to enjoy a whole citrus fruit. A medium orange makes for a perfect snack, containing about 15 to 18 grams of carbohydrates, which fits our serving size rule perfectly. Half a grapefruit is also a fantastic choice, given its super low GI of 25. But before you do, you absolutely must pay attention to this critical red flag. Okay, please listen very carefully. This is incredibly important. Grapefruit and grapefruit juice can have serious and sometimes dangerous interactions with a long list of very common medications. This list includes many widely prescribed statin drugs for cholesterol, like Lipitor, atorvastatin, and Zocor, simvastatin. It also includes certain blood pressure medications, particularly a class called calcium channel blockers, and even some anti-anxiety drugs. Here's what happens. Compounds in grapefruit can block a specific enzyme in your body that is responsible for breaking down these drugs. When that enzyme is blocked, the medication can build up in your bloodstream to potentially toxic levels. This is not a small or trivial risk. If you take any prescription medication, especially for heart health, cholesterol, or blood pressure, you must talk to your doctor or your pharmacist before you add grapefruit or grapefruit juice to your diet. This is a perfect example of what it means to be the proactive CEO of your own health. That crucial warning is a perfect lead-in to our number 1 pick. It's a fruit that completely breaks the mold. It isn't known for its sweetness or its juice, but for something else entirely that makes it a true, undisputed superstar for anyone managing blood sugar. And here we are, At number 1, the top fruit for natural blood sugar management might surprise you because it's not like any other fruit on our list. It's the creamy, rich, and absolutely delicious avocado. That's right, an avocado is technically a fruit, but here is why it earns the number 1 spot. Unlike every other fruit, which is primarily made of carbohydrates, avocados are primarily made of healthy monounsaturated fat. A whole avocado has less than a single gram of sugar, but it is packed with an astounding 10 to 13 grams of fiber. Because it is so incredibly low in carbs and sugar, its glycemic index is practically 0. Some estimates place it as low as 15. An avocado will not spike your blood sugar. In fact, it does the exact opposite. The combination of healthy fat and fiber in an avocado dramatically slows down your entire digestive process. This means that when you pair avocado with other foods, it actually helps to blunt or lessen the blood sugar response of the entire meal. But it gets even better. Research has shown that these healthy fats can improve your body's insulin sensitivity, which means your body can use the insulin it produces more effectively and efficiently. And very recent studies have even linked regular avocado consumption to a lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes, particularly in people who already have prediabetes. I have a client, a wonderful woman named Maria, who really struggled with her morning blood sugar levels. She loved having toast for breakfast, but her numbers would always spike afterward. I suggested a simple swap. Instead of using butter on her whole wheat toast, she should try mashing up a quarter of an avocado and spreading that on instead. The change was almost immediate and truly remarkable. The healthy fat and fiber from the avocado slowed down the digestion of the toast's carbohydrates, leading to a much smaller, gentler rise in her blood sugar. She still got to enjoy her morning toast, but in a much smarter, healthier way. It was a total game changer for her breakfast routine. Your action step is to start thinking of avocado as a healthy fat replacement. Use it in place of mayonnaise on a sandwich, instead of butter on your toast, or as a creamy topping on chili instead of sour cream. A healthy serving size is about a quarter to a half of a medium avocado. It adds a wonderful creaminess and flavor, along with a powerful dose of blood sugar stabilizing fiber and healthy fat. The main red flag with avocado is simply being mindful of calories. Because they are so rich in healthy fats, they are also more calorie-dense than other fruits. So portion control is important for overall weight management, which is also a key part of managing diabetes. Sticking to that quarter to half avocado serving size is a great guideline. But in terms of its direct effect on your blood sugar, it is one of the safest and most beneficial foods you can possibly eat. And there you have it, the top 7 powerhouse fruits. From the fiber in pears to the healthy fats in avocados, a clear picture is starting to emerge. So as we've journeyed from number 7 all the way to our surprising number 1, what is the real big picture takeaway? It's that managing your blood sugar is not about a diet of bland, boring foods. It is not about fearfully avoiding the entire produce aisle. It is about being armed with knowledge. It's about understanding on a deep level that a whole fruit, complete with all of its natural fiber, is a completely different food than a glass of juice. It's about knowing how to pair a piece of fruit with a little protein or healthy fat to create a balanced, satisfying, and safe snack. It's about reclaiming delicious, natural foods that you thought you had lost. The most important message I want you to leave with today is this: you are the chief executive of your own health. You have the power and the right to ask questions, to understand the why behind the advice you're given, and to make intelligent, informed choices that will dramatically improve your quality of life. This knowledge gives you control, and control is the absolute opposite of fear. Now I would love to hear from you. Which of these 7 fruits was the biggest surprise or the biggest aha moment for you? Was it the critical medication warning that comes with grapefruit? Or perhaps learning that the creamy avocado is actually a fruit? Please, leave a comment down below. I truly enjoy reading every single one and learning from your experiences and wisdom. And if you found this deep dive helpful and you want more expert-level, no-nonsense health information to help you live a more vibrant and empowered life, please take a moment to click that subscribe button and ring the little notification bell. That way, you won't miss our next video. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Remember to be kind to yourself and be proud of every single smart choice you make for your health. Here's to your health and happiness, and I'll see you in the next video.